and welcome to Talk and Fight with me, Holly Donovan. Happy Friday. Gotta love a Friday. Always see me on a Friday. Hope that's okay. Today, I will be previewing the fight that is going to be happening at the OVO Arena in Wembley on the 26th of November. So it's not tomorrow, Saturday, it's the Saturday afterwards. Just because normally I do the fight night that's happening straight away on the Saturday. So just to let you know, it won't be on tomorrow if you turn it on. It'll be on a week later and it'll be live on DAZN, and that's all around the world. So if you like the video today, please like and subscribe. I'm going to give you a big preview to that fight night. So hopefully we've got a poster up right now. We are going to be previewing Dillian Whyte, the body snatcher. He is back, and this time he is facing Jermaine Franklin, the undefeated American. I'm also going to preview the fight between Fabio Wardley and Nathan Gorman, another heavyweight clash, which will be super fun. I'm going to preview Craig Richards. He is back after his defeat to bouts, and he is going to be facing Ricard Bolotniks. And also there's a female fight on the card, so obviously I'm going to preview that too. That is going to be Sandy Ryan, and she will be facing previous world champion, Mahi Sanchez. So without further ado, let's begin with the preview of the first fight. So next photo, please. We have Dillian Whyte, and he is going to be facing Jermaine Franklin. So these are heavyweights. So obviously it's going to be, well, everyone loves a heavyweight clash, don't they? So I'm excited for it. Dillian Whyte, he's the body snatcher. He most recently was seen against Tyson Fury with quite a brutal TKO for anyone that saw that. But he's back, and he wants to remind people that actually he's a really great heavyweight fighter. He wants another title shot. He had to wait ages for the last one. So he is here trying to prove, look, I'm here, I'm back, I'm fine, I'm brilliant, please listen. So let's chat about Dillian first. He's had 31 fights. 28 wins, pretty decent. Only 3 losses and 19 KOs. Now his losses really do come to the best. He lost against AJ, he lost against Povetkin, although he did win the rematch, and he lost, obviously, like we've just spoken about, against Tyson. Now all of those losses have something in common. They all got Dillian with an uppercut. It's without a doubt his weakness. So whatever he's doing for this fight, I know that he's changed trainers now. He's with Buddy McGirt. However, is he training to get, I don't know, a tougher jaw? I hope so. I know that you can't just, train to get Joe Joyce's bone density, but hopefully he's doing something defensively. So this is his first return. I would say it's a must-win fight. There's talk about him retiring if he doesn't win this fight. But like I said, he's really got to be working on punch resistance. Dillian Whyte has a great story. I don't know if you know it. I'll give you a little bit now, just in case you don't. Now, he's got kind of tough grit ingrained in him right from the day he was born. He was born in Jamaica during a hurricane, like a massive hurricane. The roof of his house actually blew off, but his mum hid under a table to have Dillian. So we're talking about some serious strength coming from his mum. So that explains probably why he's so strong in the boxing ring as well. There's got to be something genetic going on there. However, he had a really tough childhood. So his mum actually left him in Jamaica when he was 2 years old to go to the UK to make a much better life for him and his brothers and sisters. She obviously worked really hard to make this happen. Massively hard worker, had 3 different jobs. She would send money home to Jamaica for the family that were looking after Dillian. However, Dillian didn't receive a lot of this money. He was treated really badly. And in interviews, he even says that at times he was absolutely starving. When he was 13, he did eventually go to be with his mum in the UK, which is fantastic. They're reunited. However, it didn't get much better for Dillian because he actually got caught up in a lot of gang culture. I mean, this is ridiculous. He was shot and stabbed. He fathered a child at 13 years old. It's fair to say that he had a really tough childhood. He said that when he came over, his accent was very thick. People would take mick out of him. He'd have to stand up for himself, and that's how he got into violent situations and the situation that he got himself into. He took up kickboxing. Thank God. And it gave him some direction. And he actually became the British heavyweight champion. So he was really, really great at it. And he did go into boxing as well. So he found an outlet, he found some discipline, which is obviously brilliant. He had quite a limited amateur career. He had 6 fights, 5 of which were KOs, and one of them he actually put an opponent in a coma. So he was a really tough fighter. Even without that amateur career, he was clearly going to go somewhere. He went pro in 2011. And he actually was WBC heavyweight interim champion twice. Like I said earlier, he had that shot against Tyson to get that world title. He wants that world title, he really does. Back in 2012, he did actually have a drug ban, so he had 2 years out. He still says that he took it unknowingly. It was nothing to do with him. But he came back anyway after those 2 years, back in 2014. He's worked his way to the top and he's fighting the best. You know, he's kind of a brawler. He's got a good, entertaining style. He's got speed, he's got power, he's got his own individual style, I'd say. And like I said, he's got tons of experience. He's been in the ring with the very best. AJ, Povetkin, Fury, you know, he has a lot of experience behind him going into this fight. Obviously, he's lost 2 out of 3 of his last fights, but I think that just gives him more. That gives him more, you know, he really wants this. Now, he is against Jermaine Franklin from the USA, who is undefeated. He is 21-0. He's had 14 KOs. This is a huge step up for Jermaine Franklin. Like, without a doubt, Dillian will be the toughest person he has faced so far. And he has prepped really well. So even though Dillian Whyte has had all that experience in the ring, Jermaine Franklin has been sparring with Tyson Fury. And as we know, Tyson Fury knocked Dillian Whyte out with that famous uppercut. So is he giving Jermaine Franklin those tips as well? But you know what, sparring with him, that's got to be good, right? Now, Jermaine actually began at a similar kind of age to Dillian Whyte. He was 12, 13. He kept getting in fights at school. And his stepdad said, look, go to boxing and take your violence out there. So he did. He fell in love with it. He was brilliant straight away. He didn't have much of an amateur career because he said there weren't many guys as big as him. Apparently there were a lot of no-shows. They'd arrange a fight, but it wouldn't necessarily go ahead. He did go to the Nationals when he was 17 and 18. He absolutely loved it. That's when he properly fell in love with it. That was around 2015. He could have stuck around being an amateur and gone to the Rio Olympics, but he decided not to. He wanted to go pro instead. However, he had a bit of a tough journey as a pro. He said that he had some really bad times with his management, really bad management, really struggled to make money. And at one point, he actually had to have 2 years out of the game. He declared himself bankrupt. He went and got a full-time job because he had 2 daughters to support. So he actually got to the point where he was like, I can't actually afford to be a boxer right now. I've been messed about too much. He said he was a slave to his management. Yeah, quite a sad story, really. He came back. This is part of his comeback, working his way back up. He has a dream to obviously be a world title contender, but then also to open a business for boxers where he can make sure that they receive the support, they have a lot more choice, and they have more kind of control on their finances, so that they don't have to go through the same thing as he did. In all these interviews, he is really low. He seems so humble, just really nice guy. In the ring, he looks very fearless, very comfortable kind of fighter. Likes to be at the center of the ring a lot. He is 2 inches shorter than Dillian. He's got 1 inch less of a reach. He's beaten undefeated fighters, but like I said, he hasn't had people in the ring as experienced or brilliant as Dillian has. So this is a good one. I mean, like I say, with heavyweight fights, they're fun because you always have a puncher's chance. Like, I mean, Dillian is the favorite. If you want to make a bet, the odds are on him. However, like I said, if Jermaine gets that uppercut, all right, let's move on to the next fight of the night, which will also be a heavyweight clash. So good night. So next picture, please. I don't know if these pictures are happening, by the way, because the studio's changed. So I'm just going to hope that it's there. If it's not, can you just imagine a picture of Fabio Wardley and Nathan Gorman? Anyway, so we've got Fabio Wardley, he's 27. Nathan Gorman, he's 26. They're both British. And it is this, I can't speak. This is for the British Heavyweight Championship title. Let's start with Fabio. He's the favourite. Now, he has had 13 fights. 13 wins, so he's totally undefeated, 13-0, and 12 of those have been KO. Yes, you heard right, 12. So his KO rate is incredible. His power is ridiculous. He is very well known for having super early TKOs. He just gets rid of his opponents straight away. Now, he hasn't been in the ring with some really tough opposition yet. I'd say the best he had was Eric Molina. Obviously, he's fantastic, but he got rid of him in the 5th round TKO. I mean, he's a prospect, so this is going to be an exciting fight because Nathan will be a step up for Fabio, but Fabio really has got power, real good power. Now, he's actually managed by Dillian Whyte, and he spars with Dillian Whyte. So even if he hasn't had massive opponents in the ring, he's been sparring with someone who's very brutal, so that's great. Now, this is quite a cool story. He came really late to boxing. He was 22, and he was actually a recruitment office worker. And when he was 22, he was like, oh, I don't want to do this. I want to go be a boxer. And he had 4, that's it, white collar boxing fights, and he decided, yeah, I want this. This will be great. I mean, he's 6'5", he's over 16 stone. I mean, like, yeah, he could definitely be a heavyweight boxer. But people laughed at him. He said, people were like, "What are you talking about, mate? This is ridiculous." He went pro in 2017, so literally like a couple of years, and he was like, "Yeah, gonna be pro." I mean, he's only been boxing 5 years. He really shocked the boxing scene. He won his first title, the English title. That was against Simon Lilly, who was Commonwealth Games gold medalist. He did a massive left hand and he won the English title. That was in the 3rd round as well. So he really shocked the boxing scene. Everyone was like, okay, let's take notice. His opponents in the ring as well, after he's knocked him out, they've had to receive oxygen. It's really brutal. I mean, this guy, he's definitely got ring IQ. You watch it in the previous fights. He's got power. He's got really fast hands. He's got really fast feet. I think the main thing is because he gets rid of his opponents really early on. How is he going to go if he's got a tougher opponent and he's got to last longer? I think we're going to see that gas tank. He's sparred the best, really. So he sparred AJ, sparred Chisora, he's sparred Usyk, and obviously Dillian Whyte as well. So, I mean, I think this would be a great fight. It's really, really good. Like I said, he's a favourite, but he is against fellow Brit Nathan Gorman. Now, he has had 19 fights, 1 loss and 13 KOs. Now, his 1 loss was to Daniel Dubois in 2019, and I'll tell you about that later, because was it really the true Nathan Gorman on that day? I don't think it was. Now, Nathan Gorman is the current IBF International Heavyweight Champion. Now, he has had about 18 months out of boxing, but he's returned to the ring this year, and in the last 2 months, he's had 2 TKOs, which has been great. One was in the 2nd round, one was in the 1st round, so he's really cleaning up opponents. It looks like he's really back. This is his actual 2nd chance at British heavyweight title. He's from Cheshire. He's very experienced, and he says that he has way more experience than Fabio Wardley. He probably does, because obviously he's had more fights. But like I said earlier, Fabio is really getting those sparring rounds in with some really experienced opponents. Now, this is actually Nathan's 2nd camp, because his fight that he was supposed to have actually got cancelled. So he is really well prepped for this, I'd say, on 2 camps. I mean, you're going to be great, aren't you? Now, let's talk about that loss to Daniel Dubois in 2019. It's his only loss. Now, after the fight, it came out that his son at the time, Nathan's son, was actually in hospital with pneumonia and a tumour. So I'm going to say that perhaps his mind wasn't fully in that camp, nor it would have been in the ring, you know. He took 2 months out after that loss to Daniel Dubois to kind of, you know, recalibrate, recover, because obviously his son did recover, luckily. However, then the pandemic hit. So it ended up being this 18-month hiatus. So now he's coming back and he's got something to prove. Now, he is from a massive fighting family. He is a cousin of the Furies. His dad is the king of gypsies, as he's known, and he was the undefeated bare knuckle fighter. So we're talking about a serious fighting family here with tons of support. Now, Nathan was in the amateurs. He was an ABA champion. He was in Team GB, and he went pro in 2015. Now, there is a shared opponent. So Fabio Wardley and Nathan Gorman have both fought Richard Lartey. Now, there is a slight difference, though. Nathan got rid of Lartey by unanimous decision, whereas obviously Fabio TKO'd him really early on in the second round. So I think that just gives you a bit of an idea of the power. I would say that Nathan Gorman has more boxing IQ, and there is power there, but I don't think it's on the same level as Fabio Wardley's. We'll see, though. If you want to make a bet, I'd go with Fabio. But like I said, heavyweights, puncher's chance. That's why, I mean, 2 top fights going on here. I think it'd be great. Okay, so now let's go to the next preview. So we should have a photo of Craig Richards, and he is fighting Ricard Bolotniks of Latvia. Now, Craig Richards, we most recently saw him suffer a defeat to Boutsi, but he's got something to prove. So I'm going to start with him. This is a light heavyweight fight. Craig has had 21 fights. He's had 17 wins, 3 losses, 10 KOs. He's known as the Spider. I actually don't know why. I've never really known why. He was actually the British light heavyweight champ. That was in the years 2020 to 21, so quite recently. We also saw him fight Dimitri Bivol quite recently as well. Now he lost to Boutsi and Dimitri Bivol, both fantastic like heavyweight fighters, I'm sure you'd agree. But he didn't lose badly to these guys. He really put up a fight, and he lost by unanimous decision to both, but he went the whole way. He took it to points. It wasn't easy. He put up a lot of defense. So I would say actually he's a great fighter. It's just that Boutsi has ridiculous flurries of power, and Bivol was just some sort of genius in the ring. So let's talk about Craig Richards. He had quite a small amateur career. Also a great story, tell you a little story. I love the little stories behind a boxer. So he was planning to go to university in 2012. That was his plan. He was prepping for it. And then the London Olympics came, obviously, in 2012. He was in and out of boxing his whole life, and he saw the Olympic boxers, obviously, and he was like, ooh, I like boxing. Ooh, that looks really good. Oh, I'd much rather do that and go to uni. So he says to his parents, oh, I think I'm going to become a boxer instead. And they're like, sorry, what? So he had to prove himself first. He actually won his first boxing fight, and it was so good that it got in the papers. And his parents and his family were like, oh, okay, fine, we'll support you. So goodbye uni, hello boxing. So he said the boxing gave him an identity. He's quite often the underdog in every fight. Really, I've seen him, he's always the underdog. But he likes it. It gives him a point to prove, and sometimes he does come out on top. Yes, he's lost 2 out of the 3 of his last fights, but I think that gives him something to prove. I'd say his style, he takes a while to warm up, but he is good on the back foot. He has a great jab, and like I said, he's got good IQ. You can tell that he's really thinking about the right shots to make. So he's the favorite here. He's not the underdog, but I'm sure he's still got that point to prove, especially after Boutsi. Now let's look at Ricard Bolotniks, who he's against. He's 32, so that's totally same age. He's nicknamed the Lion. He's from Latvia. Now he's had 26 fights, 19 wins. He's had 6 losses, 1 draw, and 8 KOs. He also lost to Boutsi. He had a KO in round 11. So yeah, only 1 round less than Craig Richards. Now, apart from that loss to Boutsi, he's actually on quite a good winning streak. His history into boxing is quite cool. He was an ice hockey player. I think that goes with his kind of attacking style. So it makes sense. He went pro in 2013. Now, he had quite a tricky start when he first came to boxing. He was kind of losing more than he was winning. Then he went into cruiserweight, so he went up a weight class. He started winning, and then he started losing again and came back down to light heavy. So here he is now at light heavy. His style, I would say, he's a very come forward fighter. He puts a lot of pressure on. I think he's got the bigger shots compared to Craig Richards. But like I said, he's got some big shots going, but I do think Craig Richards is going to take this one, even if he's not quite as powerful. So again, if I was making a bet, I'd bet on Richards, and I reckon it will go to points. All right, so final fight that I'm going to preview for you. Obviously, it's a female fight. Not going to leave that out, am I? So, Sandy Ryan, let's talk about her. She is against Anahi Sanchez. Okay, so this is the WBC International Super Lightweight title. And Sandy Ryan, let's start with her. She has had 5 fights, 4 wins and 1 loss, 2 KOs. Now I'm going to talk about that loss. Sandy Ryan, she's known for being Team GB. She was there for 9 years. She got silver at the World Championships. She says that boxing is literally all she knows. She's grown up with it. Her older brother, don't know if you know him, it's Dave Rocky Ryan. He was pro in like 2007 to 2016. He was also Commonwealth champion super lightweight, like years 2014 to 15. So she's had that. She's grown up with it. She's 29. So, you know, she's had her older brother boxing this whole time. Now, she was doing really well since her pros. However, then she had a fight with Erica Farias, who is a former world champion. Now, she lost that fight. I think it was back in March. She lost it to split decision, but she was absolutely gutted. There was a rematch clause and she took it immediately, and literally within 5 months she was back in the ring facing Erica Farias again. Now, she had really worked on stuff. She had way better body shots. She was much better with her level. She was much better at fighting from distance. Like, she just, the difference between those 2 fights is massive. Watch it on YouTube. She looks like a completely different fighter. And then she won by unanimous decision, so yay. And now she's back again, this time facing Anahi Sanchez. Now, Anahi Sanchez will not be an easy fight for Sandy. She's had 21 fights, 5 losses, no KOs. She's 31. However, she's actually come into this fight with pretty much 6 days notice. So obviously they both had 6 days notice. There was a change of opponent. Sandy was supposed to be facing Rodriguez, someone else. So Anahi is from Argentina. She is a 3-weight world champion. Now, I said that this was a super lightweight contest. She was actually super lightweight world champion only in 2019. So 3 years ago, she was right at the top of the game. She has had losses to Chantel Cameron, Jessica McCaskill, and Katie Taylor. So she has faced massive experience in that ring. Like, they're 3 of the best I've just read out. So especially, you know, Katie Taylor. She's been in the ring with Katie Taylor. She's just a really experienced fighter. She's got massive boxing IQ. She's coming off the back of 2 wins as well. So Sandy's the favorite, and if we're going anything by her last fight to Erica Farias, then she's going to be on form. She's going to be brilliant, and she's going to take home the win. However, I'm not going to lie by saying, you know, this is a tough challenge for her. I really hope that she comes out on top for sure. Alrighty, so please tune in. Like I said, it's on DAZN live all around the world. That is going to be on the 26th of November, or if you fancy a ticket, it's live at the OVO Arena in Wembley. It's going to be a really good fight, actually. I mean, those top 4 fights, all of those have the potential to be really entertaining. Please join me in 2 weeks' time for another episode of Talkin' Fight with Holly Donovan. If we switch to the next photo, I will be previewing Fury Chisora 3. Now, whatever your opinion of the 3rd fight, doesn't matter. We're going to preview it anyway. We're going to go through the undercard. Daniel Dubois on it as well. So please tune in 2 weeks' time for another episode with me, Holly Donovan, Talking Fight with Holly Donovan. I'll see you soon, guys. Have a lovely weekend.